Economics of the environment, with particular reference to the Cape Town water crisis. Cape Town has been, okay, here goes. Cape Town has been experiencing a water crisis since the exponential growth of birth rates that began in around 1995. The growing fertility rates have resulted in a deficiency of natural resources, and according to current affairs, the water crisis was dubbed Day Zero. We're probably on Day 3 now. The following article will include and analyze a view of the Cape Town saga and hopefully provide a means of a first step into a solution for the current water problem. Many natural resources aren't traded in markets like would be the situation with stocks, and thus limited information, or better yet, an indifference towards the economics of the environment. Economics on the environment uses micro and macroeconomic theory to learn more about the ways in which economic forces influence the consumption of environmental goods and services, with particular reference to productive and allocative efficiency. Economics is the science of allocation of scarce resources, and looking at water, contrary to belief of scientists believing that economics is a pseudoscience that regards physics and chemistry as externalities, the allocation of scarce resources is as much of an empirical study as any scientific research endeavor. Productive efficiency is the efficiency of inputs to produce a desired or more than desired output. Allocative efficiency is the maximization of welfare. The proper allocation of scarce resources is defeated by a form of efficiency called Pareto efficiency. The prospect of making any gains is faced with making competition worse off. To say this in terms of the economics of the environment, when a company producing plastic straws is underway towards retaining any sorts of profit as a microeconomic policy and practice decision, it has to keep in mind the amount of pollution their products cause in the ocean because of the competition it will create in that industry. One, for example, one competitor making their straws colorful and another making their straws longer, the decision to carry on producing their straws regardless of the outcome in the environment is Pareto efficiency. Climate change is dreaded by many companies, so much so that there's a term that's been coined climate denialists. You know, climate change is the significant change in regional climate patterns due to mismanaged carbon footprints and, pollution. The drought in Cape Town is a result of climate change. It began to be alarming in 2007 when the municipalities issued a warning to residents to try to manage their water more effectively. The warning was heeded, but then dam levels began to fall in 2014 and reached a threatening 50% in 2015. Level 2 and 3 water restrictions were implemented in 2016 to counter excessive usage of water by the public, and also desalination plants were put up to try to make water from the ocean drinkable. The absence of water caused prices to increase. An economic shift of the supply curve shifted to the left, then led to a decreased quantity because of environmental forces existing on a macroeconomic scale. As of the 29th of November 2018, the water restrictions were stable at level 3 and prices are normalizing back, as shown in current affairs. Municipalities generally get their water from a reservoir or a dam. Before saving water by limiting usage, it would be sensible to improve the conditions under which the water is kept. Part of a solution would be using shade balls. These are small spheres that are poured into dams and reservoirs to stop evaporation, prevent chemical reactions that cause algae formation and contamination. The concern with these is that they cost much more to produce than their estimated return on investment would be. An experiment was conducted in California, USA, where the balls have been covering a reservoir, but the problem is their cost. They cost the municipality $34.5 million to produce, whereas they saved $20 million. The calculation is done over 10 years, being the length of time at which the balls keep their integrity. Just looking at the numerical variables, it would be an obvious loss in the long run, but when considering the positive macroeconomic externalities that would exist from implementing the balls in Cape Town, there could be place for this kind of solution. Lecturers at UCT don't believe that is a viable solution, but upon passage of the first wave of these balls and through research and conclusions of the results, their opinions could change. Economics of the environment is proving to no-nonsense scientists that economics is as viable a science as any, and why it is important. Upon further research into the topics mentioned above, there is a clear indication of the importance of economics of the environment being a tool towards evaluating and combating climate change to many nations around the world. Innovation is needed at the level of ingenuity that these balls are at, because otherwise natural resources will be exhausted sooner than predicted at the alarming fertility rates of the world, not just Cape Town.